Hello everyone. Today we are discussing the story of a demon sent from hell. So make sure you don't miss out on any of the story. Pay attention to every little detail because every little detail matters. One day, my aunt stayed with her relatives for the night. They were celebrating some kind of holiday. I don't remember exactly which one. Then they were all sitting at the table. They were drinking and eating and having fun until late at night. At some point, they started talking about mysticism and the afterlife. My aunt said that she wouldn't believe in any of it until she saw it with her own eyes. That's how adamant she was. She was a staunch atheist. She even told her relatives that if anything, when she dies, she wants them to cremate her body so that there's no doubt that she's really gone. She doesn't want anyone to dig up her grave or anything like that. In short, she was an outright skeptic. Someone who only believes in what they can see and touch. So later on, my aunt decided to spend the night at her relative's place instead of going back home alone late at night. Okay, I think I've covered everything important about her. So let's go. The next morning comes. My aunt gets ready to go home. She says goodbye to everyone. No one even suspects that something might happen. My aunt walks out the front door, starts walking down the sidewalk, and heads home. It's about 7 a.m. in the morning, so it's still pretty dark outside. The sky is gray, cloudy. It hasn't rained yet, but it feels like it might soon. There aren't many people on the street at this hour, mostly just cars passing by. And suddenly, standing right in the middle of the sidewalk in front of my aunt's eyes, she sees a pair of shoes. She stops, looks at them, and tries to figure out whose shoes they could be. To be honest, they looked pretty weird, but she didn't pay too much attention to them at first. She thought maybe someone had left them here on purpose. Maybe they fell off someone passing by and they weren't paying attention. She took a few more steps, and when she realized that these shoes didn't belong to anyone around, that's when it hit her like a bolt of lightning. These are hooves. Of course, hooves. How did she not realize it earlier? These are definitely animal hooves. One of those things you'd see on a horse or a cow or goat. Only she knows for sure that she lives in a regular city apartment building. There are no stables or farm animals anywhere near here. And there are definitely no goats on the sidewalk in front of her house. So where did these hooves come from? This question kept pounding in her head and she couldn't shake it off. She continues walking towards her house. Her mind is still trying to wrap its head around what she just saw. But the closer she gets to the front door, the more her heart starts racing. Because as she takes another step, she notices a second shoe. And it's not just that she sees it. She also hears something. It sounds like heavy chains dragging along the ground, clanking and shaking. And that's when she remembers the story her grandmother used to tell her as a kid about the devil himself coming for your soul. And suddenly those shoes make perfect sense to her. She freezes in her tracks. She doesn't dare move forward or take another step. She stands there frozen, staring at the shoes. She's trying to convince herself that it's all in her head, that it's just a joke played by some kids. But deep down, she knows it's not. She takes a shaky breath, trying to calm herself down, and slowly reaches out to touch the shoes. As soon as her fingers make contact with them, she feels a jolt shoot through her whole body. It's like an electric shock. The hair on her arms and neck stand on end. Her entire body trembles uncontrollably. She pulls her hand back as fast as she can, as if burned, and stumbles backward. She tries to steady herself, but her legs feel weak and heavy. She leans against the wall beside the door and closes her eyes tightly, trying to collect herself. But when she opens them again, what she sees makes her scream at the top of her lungs. Right before her eyes is the most terrifying creature she has ever seen in her whole life. It's a demon, a real demon. It looks like a humanoid creature with sharp teeth and horns. It has a tail that drags along the ground, making those heavy chains dragging sound she heard earlier. Its eyes glow an eerie red in the dim morning light, and it seems to stare right through her soul. Fear paralyzes her. She can't move, can't cry out, can't do anything. She's completely frozen in place. She can only watch in horror as the demon slowly rises from its crouch and takes a step toward her. It takes another step and then speaks in a voice that sounds like gravel grinding together. "You wanted to see me, so I came." Those words tear through her like shards of glass. She finally finds her voice, but it comes out as a terrified squeak. What do you want?" The demon takes another step closer, and she instinctively takes a step back. She feels the wall behind her and presses herself against it. She's trapped. "I told you. I didn't want to see you," she stammered. "How did you find me?" The demon stopped moving. For a moment, it just stared at her, then let out a low growl that rumbled deep in its chest. "You called me yourself. You wanted to see me." It took another step. No, that wasn't me." "I swear it wasn't," she cried out, tears streaming down her face now. But the demon wasn't listening. It reached out a clawed hand and grabbed her by the throat, lifting her off her feet. She struggles, flailing her arms and legs, but it's no use. Its grip is like iron. Its claws dig into her skin, leaving deep scratches and drawing blood. She feels her vision starting to blur. She can't breathe. She tries to scream, but all that comes out is a gurgling sound. She kicks and screams, but no one can hear her. Suddenly, the demon drops her roughly onto the ground and lets out a deafening roar that echoes through the streets. Startled, my aunt looks up at the demon. It's grinning at her, revealing rows of sharp teeth. And in that moment, she understands. The demon isn't there to take her life. It was just teasing her, toying with her fear. She coughs violently, trying to catch her breath. Her throat hurts. She looks down at her body and sees blood soaking her clothes. The demon chuckled, enjoying her terror. "You're not ready yet. I still have plans for you," it said, its voice echoing ominously. "There's no one else. I'm the only one who knows about you." With that, it vanished, leaving behind only the lingering scent of sulfur and the echo of its laughter. My aunt sat there on the ground, stunned and afraid. She wanted to call out for help, but her voice was hoarse and dry. She tried to stand up, but her legs felt weak and shaky. She looked around wildly, searching for a way to escape. But she was trapped. There was no way out. Then, as if waking from a nightmare, she suddenly remembered the spare key. She quickly rummaged through her pockets, found the key, and hurried to the door. She fumbled with it for a moment, but finally managed to open it and slipped inside. She slammed the door shut behind her and locked it. She leaned against the door, trembling, trying to catch her breath. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum. She could still hear the demon's laughter echoing in her ears. My aunt stayed in her house for the rest of the day. She didn't leave, not even to get food or water. She was too afraid the demon would find her. She huddled in a corner, trying to hide, but the demon's laughter kept ringing in her ears. She couldn't escape it. She spent the entire day there, terrified, hiding from the demon. When her phone rang, she jumped as if burned and nearly screamed. Who could be calling her at a time like this? She looked at the caller ID and saw that it was her neighbor. She hesitated for a moment, then picked up. "Hello," she answered cautiously. "Are you okay? I saw you come home and you seemed upset. Is everything all right?" her neighbor asked, concerned. My aunt hesitated. Should she tell her about the demon? Would anyone believe her? She decided against it. "Yes, everything's fine. Just a bit under the weather." "Nothing serious," she replied, trying to sound casual. Her neighbor didn't press further and soon they ended the call. As the hours passed, my aunt's fear began to subside somewhat. She gradually regained her composure and slowly started to explore her house. She checked all the doors and windows, making sure they were locked. She moved around restlessly, unable to relax or feel safe. She spent the entire day in this state until the evening, hiding, waiting for the demon to attack again. But it never did. That night, for the first time in her life, she slept with the lights turned on. She tossed and turned in bed, unable to relax or fall asleep. Every creak of the house, every sound outside made her jump. She was tense, on edge, convinced that the demon was just outside the window, waiting for her to fall asleep so it could pounce. She spent the entire night in this state, haunted by fear. In the morning, she went to the bathroom to look at herself in the mirror. She saw dark circles under her eyes, and her face was pale. She looked exhausted, haggard, as if she hadn't slept in days. But sleep was the last thing on her mind. She couldn't stop thinking about the demon. What was it? Why had it chosen her? What did it want? These questions kept pounding in her head. She couldn't focus on anything else. She knew she couldn't stay in that house. She had to get out. But the thought of going outside, of facing the possibility of encountering the demon again, filled her with dread. She struggled with herself for a long time, torn between the desire to escape and the paralyzing fear of what awaited her outside. But eventually, the will to survive, the instinct to protect herself won out over fear. She knew she had to do something. Sitting in her house, hiding wasn't a solution. After weighing all her options, she decided to seek help from her relatives. She called them and asked them to come over. They arrived quickly, obviously worried about her well-being. When they saw her disheveled appearance and heard her story, they were shocked. At first, they probably thought it was just another crazy idea of hers. But seeing how upset and frightened she was, they understood that something was wrong. They offered her their support and promised to help her. Together, they decided to check her house thoroughly, every room, every closet, every corner. They wanted to make sure that the house was safe, that there was no danger lurking within. But of course, no one found anything because demons are not that simple. They can't be found like that. They hide in the shadows. Later, they decided to call a priest. He arrived and performed an exorcism of her house. They blessed each room, each corner. The priest spoke in a low voice, uttering ancient words that held immense power. His presence seemed to fill the house with a sense of calm and protection. After the ceremony, she felt a huge wave of relief wash over her. Now she felt a bit safer in her own home. Well, at least she felt safer because her house was no longer just a shelter. It had become a sanctuary. From that day on, my aunt never doubted in the existence of demons. She learned a valuable lesson about the nature of evil and the importance of faith. The encounter with the demon shook her deeply, but also led her to a new path in life. She became a believer, someone who found strength and solace in faith. She started going to church regularly, praying for guidance and protection. She actively participated in religious activities and shared her story with others, warning them about the dangers of denying the existence of God. Her transformation was remarkable, like a complete turnaround. The once staunch atheist became a devout Christian, someone who found meaning and hope in belief. The story spread throughout the town, and people often talked about the mysterious incident with the demon. Some dismissed it as just a crazy tale, while others believed it wholeheartedly. However, for my aunt, it was a life-changing experience that shaped her beliefs and outlook on life forever.